Alright, well, hello everyone. It's time. It is time to close out the project. Um, yeah. This is the ending of Danganronpa. One Trigger Happy Havoc. And I might as well now share my thoughts and feelings about the game and to what I put in as kind of like a little summary or main parts and stuff. It won't be as long as the bonus, definitely not. It'll probably be even shorter than most of the than like all the videos here. If not, then that's whatever. But yeah. So let's get started. Overall, for what this game has kind of shown is that because it's the first in its series, and it's the starting point. It came out in 2010. This game, yeah, it's old. It's reached the 10-year mark, obviously, from 2020 in September, or I think November actually. But yeah, for the first game, it did pretty well. I'll say, in my opinion, it's a pretty good game. But it's obvious to say that this is definitely not in like my top 50 of games. Maybe not. It's probably my top 100 because I haven't played too many games. But I played like maybe over 100. But overall, this game definitely has something special to it. It's it has its unique charm of cast and characters, obviously, and there's a lot of lovely characters in here. Definitely, I had a lot of fun playing this game and talking to the characters. But first, let's start with kind of like what my kind of like the negative thoughts I have about this game. First off, it's pretty flawed. It has poor writing. Like, some of the moments are just not needed to be explained. Like, there are too many like repetitive flashbacks that we don't need to spot in like the game that it holds. Like, there's just too much. It really does repeat. It really tries to get you noggin down, and there's good reason too. Like, if you don't come back to the game in quite a while and you need like a repeat, flashbacks work out. But sometimes it maybe is just overdone. Like, there are so many flashbacks that occur in the game, especially Chapter 5 to Chapter 6. It is absolutely ridiculous within the whole Mukuro Ikusaba thing, which I will say it's pretty funny, but like the whole polarizing approach, kind of like copy pasta, was very much not needed, especially when it doesn't even matter, knowing that as much as there as one of the masterminds is of the 16 students, it doesn't matter because none of the 6 students that actually lived were the mastermind. Really, it was one that we didn't even see much of. We only saw like Mukuro for a bit dress up as Junko Inoshima, but even in the end, it was I think it was kind of pointless to dread off that. Of course, it could be like a throw in to like bait the cast, but it didn't really do much. Next up is kind of like the more so the dialogue. Some of the dialogue is just really awkward. It At points it'll either get down to the point, another men's fantasy, or it will just fucking keep the. It will just. What's the word? It'll just drag on. Like, there are moments where the game just drags on. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, sometimes I don't want to like take too long into like figuring out what the fuck they're trying to do. Try to tell me when I already know it from like 4 hours ago. It is not fun to hear. Anyways, but yeah, some of the dialogue is either just it's kind of messed up in the works, or it just drags on. Yeah, that's kind of what it does. That just tips. It kind of like tips the sailing boat. Um. Anyways, in kind of like other deals, let's move on to the next part. Overall, it's probably the some characters have some flaws in them. Like, I will even say that as much as one of my two probably favorite characters in this game, which are Makoto and Kyoko, Makoto is too much of a pussy. Like, The dude like could figure out things so much easier, and the whole kind of like cliche like the main characters don't figure out till the trial is so stupid because like it gives me an idea that oh this character must be like the ace attorney or something like Phoenix Wright because like of his whole deal, but of his whole thing of putting it together at the trial. But nah, it's not like that. Instead, he's got to be kind of like the cliche type of stuff, the ultimate hope. Of course, I didn't figure out that he was the ultimate hope that easily, but you know, it's whatever. Um, yeah. And then there are some characters I did not care for. I didn't really care for Hifumi. I know a lot of people probably love him, and no, I'm not. I'm not fat phobic. There's a lot of cool ass people who are cool ass fat mans out there that I'm friends with. But yeah, in other words, I wasn't a big fan of Hifumi. Another character that I didn't pay much attention to was Sayaka of all reasons. She's a bitch. Another character would probably have to be. I didn't really care much for Chihiro, or what was the other? What's another character? I didn't care much for Chihiro, and I didn't care much for Celeste. Like 4 characters really didn't kind of like meet up for my standards really in the end, but there were still kind of a lot of lovable characters. I wish there was more of Leon, because he died. I feel like the game people could have done something with Sayaka, and like they could have killed off Hero, but as much as I really like Hero, they could have killed him off, and I would have been fine with it. I think the one character I would have probably gasped on would probably be Byakuya out of all people. I feel like because Byakuya of himself is of his affluent progeny, it would have been supremely surprising if he got killed off. But you know, that wasn't the case. I feel like it would have been understandable to see Kyoko or Makoto killed off. However, Makoto being the ultimate plot armor boy, obviously that doesn't happen to him. And yeah, overall, that's how I feel about the characters. Really, I loved a lot of the characters. Like I said, I really liked Makoto. I really liked Kyoko. I really liked Byakuya. I really liked Hiro. Really liked Aoi. And Tiny Hand's free time events were pretty cool. Originally, I didn't care much for Tiny Hands, but you know, they're really cool. As much as she doesn't play well due to her attitude in the story, she's a unique character, definitely to say. So another thing, let us talk about the trials. Overall, this game really does a weak respite. For the first one, like I said, it's gonna be flawed, and probably the weakest point I have with this game is the trials. The trials sometimes either they try to drag on too much because characters need an explanation what the fuck's going on, or if like there are certain like segments where it's either completely boring, like the game Hangs Man Gamut is supremely boring, and laughably easy, and then you have the thing where when you have to make your argument, it's either like some of them like they make sense. Like my faults are either like I didn't realize that they needed to be done that way, or I didn't look at the scenarios that were represented or the possibilities. But some just like are too close to each other that they can mean the exact same thing, but yet you have to be supremely specific on what you pour into. Like some sentences aren't going to work because you have to choose a specific sentence, and sometimes there's possibilities of you have to absorb a bullet, or you have to choose between the others. But of course, there are some points where like you know you can obviously that makes sense. That's the truth. Or that doesn't make sense. So I know not to choose that bullet. Or like if all the bullets don't line up, I can just absorb a bullet. Easy. And then but like I said, there's some times where either of them is too close to meaning the same thing that I have no idea what the fuck the game wants to choose for me. That I'll have to like use a walkthrough and stuff. Yeah. Now, the things that I did like about the trials was, like I said, Chapter 4 did a really good job of having a neat little chapter in the trial. Becca's freak out, and it was really interesting to see of who the actual killer was. In this case, Sakura killed herself. And chapter 4 was definitely a test of friendship. And like it's the obvious bite in conclusion that Nagiri is a thing. And yeah, I will look up on my own to see if Nagiri is canon and sit. But yeah, that's overall kind of like aside from that, I had a fun time with the bullet time battles. I think the bullet time battles were unique and cool. I think they really did have their moments. And yeah, that's my opinion on the trials. Alright. Next up, we have the free time events. The free time events overall were probably my favorite part of this game. I really did enjoy the free time events, and it's cool to know the cast of characters that you so interestingly love. While I do wish there were more people that characters that have more free time experience, like Sayaka is laughably pity because she dies so fast into the game. She only has 2 free time events, and that's it. In other scenarios, I really did like knowing about Kyoko though, and like Kyoko's got probably one of the most probably the best sprites in the game. That's only really shown in the free time events. I find it hilarious to death. I'm gonna check if yeah, okay, doing good. Now, other things to put in my opinion. Let's see. Now, let's move on into the plot. Overall, for what this game is, it's definitely the easy on the of the scare factor. Like, because it's the first game, it's obviously the scare factor is not. It's not to be frightened of at all. There really isn't much of it. It's all just like the scenes of death of your characters, and overall, like the executions are neat and stuff. There are some that could be worked on a bit more. Like Celeste's wasn't very, it didn't seem like total. I know I could be a sadist and whatnot because Celeste's death did not seem that bad to me. But yeah. In other scenarios, the others were very interesting and had their laughing moments, like Mondo Butter. And yeah, the plot overall was pretty decent. The whole thing about students are trapped in a murder school and that it's like a win or survive match, or it's a get out of here, let's like work together thing. It really comes together because like all the characters don't really show trust in each other. But in like the very end, you're playing a character who wants to show trust in everyone and wants everyone to work together. You obviously have Becca, who likes to work on his own, and you had Kyoko, who's obviously kind of like the trust issues character. But overall, like, Makoto's showing what he has to Vince to try to get the gang together because that's basically his job. He has to be that role because he knows that if no one works together, then it's over from the point on. And if everyone wants to get out, they have to work together. I like that. I liked the plot of this game. I also really liked how the mastermind reveal worked out in the end because, my gosh, like, you would think, it'd be one of the 6, but Junko? Junko is a surprise. Like, I had no clue. Yeah. Obviously, it was way back then. When I wasn't like, it was way back when I was watching a channel play through this game, which got me to buy these games because, like I said, I was spoiled by the character and everything. And I will tell about it soon. But yeah, overall the plot was pretty decent. I liked the things. Now, obviously, by chapter, no, get away from the thing. But in terms of others, let's talk about the chapters. Overall, the chapters could definitely use some of the chapters. Either had needed more screen time or less screen time. Chapter 3 by far is probably the game's weakest chapter. Like, there are so many plot holes in it, and I could be wrong. There could not be plot holes, and I just been speaking some random shit. But the whole thing about not being able to catch Celeste in that easy time frame is really awkward. And like, I think there are points where the main character, should just figure out how easy it is to know that, oh, Hifumi wasn't actually dead during that time because who could move his fucking body? And yeah, he's 300 pounds, dude. So yeah, it's quite easy to figure out. Overall though, Chapter 4 definitely is my favorite chapter. I really like Chapter 4. I think Chapter 4 does a really good job of testing the friendship. It really does kind of like showing the things. And, you know, I need you to get out of here. Yeah. And like, really overall, kind of like the whole thing starting with the issue of Makoto and Kyoko, pushing towards that boundaries that there's a lot more that those two characters are going to be interacting with each other. And overall, it's much more showing that, you know, from the start, those two characters were going to get together no matter what. Is something. I could be wrong because I haven't checked if it's canon or not. But it's obvious that, you know, those two characters are going to be talking a lot more of each other. Maybe fucking Makoto eating her pussy. Who knows? But overall, in terms of that, one was just, you know, it's the starting Baby Easy fucking chapter. Even though I probably fucked up a bit in there. I haven't really checked that again. I didn't really check what happened, what I did in there. All I know is that she wrote me on the fucking wall. How can no one see that? Second chapter was interesting, but Byakuya obviously making it a bit more of a challenge. Chapter 3, like I said, too much plot hole, too much easiness that the characters couldn't figure out. Chapter 4 being the favorite of mine, with its friendship sparking and thing. Chapter 5 being the total, like, wow, you are a fucking cheater, Monokuma. And then Chapter 6 being the being the tied and like my second favorite chapter in this game, because it's the whole like development and like stuff, and obviously what Makoto and Kyoko were really revealed in their chapters. I mean, Kyoko was obvious. Makoto, on the other hand, wasn't very obvious. What is there left to? What is there? Oh yeah, we got more to say actually. With kind of mainline story, with all my things and kind of how I felt about it, let's get on to school mode. So school mode definitely has its interesting points. Overall, I can't say much for it, but I really didn't have that much. I was very interested in my first run through, and like originally I was like, I had to build all the Kumas and stuff. And when I looked up the guide to see, I didn't have to build. I could ignore all of them, but obviously I couldn't ignore the last one. I was like, you know, I'm just gonna get Kyoko up, and I'm gonna see what her ending is. But when to the turn the tables when I had to finish the sixth one, or the Warlock Kuma, I obviously couldn't get it done in time, which sucks for me. So yeah, I was like, you know, first attempt's gonna be like that, and I might as well share this off. The ending for not finishing the Warlock Kuma or not getting every report card finished is you basically are just stuck there for more time till you finish it up. Like it literally ends off in like anticlimactic. It's like, yeah, do them again. You know, you're gonna stay here for longer, and just do them again. It was really kind of bullshit. If I was gonna continue on, because if that was the case, I was like, oh, cool, we can continue on till we finish the Warlock Kuma. But obviously it wasn't that. You had to restart over. From other things, one thing that I didn't like was the fact that I had to finish it on my third run through. I had to get a character ending on my third run through because originally I was like, here, I'm gonna stop at a point and I'm gonna stop here and show what we have done. But obviously, through in its tide, I had to do more. I didn't realize that you had to get the report cards finished to actually get a character ending, which really upset me because like I was like, ah, I got Warlock Kuma done. I could show off the ending to the character I want, and in the end, that didn't work out, and I was pissed. And I was like, I have to do this again. So yeah, I had to eventually finish up. I had to finish up everything that the game had to offer. That's 2 in a row. Wow. Man, just give everything to Kyoko, huh? But yeah, I was really annoyed about that factor. We're about to come to a close soon, so we're gonna be by chance see if we can get something here. Uh, 71. Anyways, nice. Oh, what? Alright. I wanted to see what I could hear. Blueberry perfume. Okay, I guess. But yeah, in line with other things, but yeah, school mode just had to take so fucking long that I couldn't get it. That I had to go through and play it again, but I had to finish everyone's things that I had left over. Which, in this case, the ones I had to finish up that I didn't get to show was it was Genocide Jill's. I had to finish that up. It was or Tiny Hands, Genocide Jill. I had to finish up Hifumi's. I had to finish up Sayaka's. I had to finish up Sakura's and Chihiro's. Chihiro was the last person I had to talk to in the game, and finish up with him. And then afterwards, that's when I got to skip things, because I got Kyoko obviously done with the trip tickets and stuff. And yes, I had to see the consent page again. My surprise to having to see that word in the game was interesting. Makes me even wonder more if he fucking played with her. Pussy. Anyways. But in terms of others. But yeah. School mode definitely is a grind fest. It's clear to by day that you just ignore everything on your first playthrough, and you get done with everything, and then you get done with other stuff. I want to thank the guide user on Steam, Eri, which is ARY. She or he was very helpful in telling what I needed to do and get stuff done. Obviously, I did not realize that I had to finish up report cards because I don't know if it said anything in that guide, or I could be wrong, or who knows. I probably had to mix the things together and combine to see what I had to get. And yeah, I had to finish on my third attempt because I didn't get what I needed done. But in other hands, yeah, it took a while. It took a while to grind, and I didn't want to record all those things of just me grinding because it was going to be boring, and it was going to be the same repetitive thing. Another escape button, that doesn't matter, because we already have some. And then, yeah, that's how I feel about it. In other things to contrast, let's talk about kind of character endings. I obviously am not gonna get every thing. I think I'm just gonna leave this game off once we're done with this. Once I'm done recording this video. But yeah, I will show off all the gifts one more time to see if I got them all. And yeah, but I'm obviously not gonna show I'm obviously not going to show off every character ending that I got. I'm happy with what I got done, finished. I'm happy I'm finally gonna finish off this game once and for all. After 2 playthroughs of it all, I'm finally gonna be finished with it, and I get to move on to the other 2. And but yeah, more so I get to move on to the second game, where I can actually see how my reactions are gonna be when we play that game. And obviously, I've heard that the other 2 are a lot better for reasons for one, this is the first game. It's gonna have its flaws, but there's improvements from what I've heard in that game, and it's gonna be. I hope to like them. I hope to like them. I'll probably will like one of them more than this one, obviously, but I hope to like them. In other hands, for characters, that's a different story. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna like more characters than I have in here. Obviously, being by point that right now for me, the best 2 are Makoto and Kyoko, but I'll see what I have. But I'll see if there's going to be anyone who is going to share that league or be above them in that league. But yeah, school mode was pretty much a drag for what I found, but I am glad to finish off, and my reaction, I hope that everyone saw, was pretty surprising. It was enough for y'all to laugh of how you get fucking panties when you finish off a character. Or when you finish a character story. In this case, we got Kyoko's undergarments. And yeah, that's good for Makoto. I now just think of it like whenever like he's alone and stuff in his room, like he goes to like his closet, he goes to like his drawer door, and grabs like her undergarment, smells it, and just is like, ah! And yeah, that probably wasn't a good scream, but whatever. Hopefully Makoto is living the life that he has within those. I would like to be living a different life with a different woman in the future. Because right now, I'm young when I'm recording this. I am young adult, but I am not as old as you would think I am. Mainly because by voice. I think it's obvious to tell by voice. Um, but yeah, that's what I had to say about school mode and the main storyline. Overall, I think that is. I think that's really it. We're 5 minutes in. We're just gonna see how this token goes. Is there anything I'm missing? I guess overall, how I feel is that I am quite surprised to say that I got the man's fantasy. I didn't expect to get that. Originally, I'm glad that I made a save point in chapter 5 because I'm gonna be honest, I was not gonna do that all over again to show y'all that scene. I was gonna be like, just go ahead, watch the video. I'm not gonna do it because I'm not gonna spend like 10 hours again to get to that point. But I'm glad I made a save point and shown what, what I didn't click. Of course, I didn't show the runaway. I don't know what that does. I'm assuming that Makoto cancels that out and like is like between let it go or pursue the lie. Or maybe it's another thing. But it'll probably lead up to the same thing if it's like let it go or something. I don't know. Um in other words, I will say what I was spoiled about that I have not been mentioning that I've been mentioning quite a bit. And I'll also say why I haven't come to play this game in the last few years that I had the chance to. Now, I was spoiled of who Makoto Naegi was. I was spoiled that he was the ultimate hope. I was not very happy at that. And while I did think he was somewhat of the ultimate ace attorney or something like that, or the ultimate ace or an ultimate attorney, I was spoiled of who he was. And I did not go in to play the game during that time because I did not want to bother with it. So, yeah, I didn't do anything with that. I did not do anything playing with it. Overall, I left it to this thing. So for about, probably since 2017, I did not go and look at this game till 3 years later, 3 to 4 years later of its time. And yeah, thanks to this channel that I watch, I'm gonna. You probably know who they are. I'm not gonna mention it because I don't want people like going on to that other channel until I feel like they should also get a thing. But two guys like they got me back to at least see what this game has to offer. And while I basically didn't know what Danganronpa 1 was gonna be like, I'm excited. I'm excited for what Danganronpa 2 and Danganronpa 3 will me. And if I do get what I believe is the Ultra Despair Girls, I'll see what that does too. I think it'd be interesting. But yeah, overall, that's basically kind of like the story behind this. I didn't bother to play this game or this series. And if it weren't for those two lovable gents, I probably wouldn't have even looked at this game again to bother with. Unless, of course, there's still possibilities that I probably would have, but they kind of like increased my chance by a lot to see. Because there's definitely a lot of lovable characters that this game has to offer, It's a fun one. It's a fun game. I really like it. Like I said, it's flawed. It's the first game. It's going to be flawed. Unless you're like Red Dead Redemption. But, of course, even Red Dead. Every game has its flaws, in my opinion. Like, let's take Ghost of Tsushima, for example. Ghost of Tsushima is a wonderful game, but it has a few ticks in it that I would like to say that doesn't make it, like, a phenomenal game. Like, the camera angle and the tracking system was really fucking eh. I didn't enjoy that for its time. Oh, well. But, yeah. Overall, I think because of that, here, I think we're gonna just do a 10. We're just gonna do 18 coins here. See what we get. Probably nothing good, but yeah. And then we're gonna use the final 10 to see what we get here. We're probably not gonna reach 100% here, but it's whatever. I think that's how it goes. Because there's some items that I gave away that I haven't gotten again, I would think. Or maybe there's one item that I don't have. But yeah, I had fun. We're getting so many man's fantasies now. But I had fun. And we're gonna... And for the love of my life, what was the button to get, what's the button to change the fucking role of the characters of the right-hand side? I can't, for the love of God of me, figure out what it is. But if that's the case, I will pause and then, like, show the last 3 characters and, you know, and end the recording there. But, yeah. The last 3, here we go. We'll probably get a lucky in between the middle, too. And we'll see if we got every item or we missed out. And there's 2 more. Alright. And that's it. Oh, we gotta check, yeah. Minimum. Did we get everything? Yep, we got everything. We got all that. Everything. Alright then. And 98.228% chance. Repeat. Well, we got everything in there. Yep. Alright. Let's see here. Alright, I'll be back. I'm gonna try to figure out how to do this so we can leave it off at the page I need. Alright, well, I couldn't figure out what to do, so, yeah. This is Danganronpa. Trigger Happy Havoc. Thank y'all so much for coming by to this lovely episode. I had fun. Thank y'all so much for watching. Peace, peeps.